Hey everyone! In this video, I'm going to be covering some high-level Rumble tips, tricks, and quirks to hopefully help you love this game mode just as much as I do. Many think this is a game of random chance, but once you start to really understand it, it makes regular Rocket League seem like checkers. Now, I purposely have not watched any videos on Rumble, so I was not influenced when making this high-level guide. If you disagree with any of the information I'm about to share, I think that's great. Please comment, subscribe, and maybe we could both learn something from each other. I would really like to make more detailed videos on Rumble, as there's actually a lot you could do with the power-ups, and this video will not come close to covering all the information that I want to share. To begin, I find it helpful to categorize the power-ups. It may seem like a lot, but there's only 11. We have the Disruptor, which we will call Hot Feet, Magnetizer or Magnet, Spike, Freezer or Ice, Grappling Hook, Tornado, the Boot, Haymaker, which we will call Punch, Plunger, Power Hitter, which we called the Power Fist, and Swapper or Teleport. These can be grouped by their primary benefit of offense, defense, or both. If you do not play much Rumble, I suggest pausing here and really review my list. Not all of them are great, but they do have their benefits, and you almost never want to just dump your power up as soon as possible. These four are certainly my least favorite though, and I try to dump them pretty quickly, but they do still have some potential. The Tornado can take out the other team, or even air dribble the ball. Hot Feet needs to be carefully deployed as it can actually help the other team, especially if they have spikes. Plus, it gives them a full tank of boost once it runs out. The Teleport is great to change rotation, putting yourself upfield, or pulling out an offensive attacker. It has a delay though, when you deploy it, and that makes it depressingly poor for defense. I think this power-up would be much more balanced if the Teleport actually happened instantly. Power Fist becomes more useful in higher ranks, but it's just not great at anything. You can quickly clear a ball though, demo the other team, or if you try to hit it into the sidewall for a shot, it's tough to read. Now onto the fun stuff. I really like the rest of the power-ups, but the absolute best to have are certainly Spikes, Plunger, Punch, or Freeze. I'm going to go through my main tips to know when playing Rumble, and then end with some important quirks about the game. Practice. You can now actually practice with these power-ups in free play, even if you do not have Bacchus mod. I had no idea, and I'm going to start doing this more myself. Do not waste power-ups. You almost never want to just immediately spam or dump a power-up just because it's not one of the best ones. Use each item with a purpose. Now, if you do have a top tier power-up like Spikes or a Freeze, I may hold onto it for entire minutes to make sure it is used at a crucial save or to guarantee a goal. Defense. This game mode is much more defense focused than regular Rocket League. You should play as if everyone has Spikes or a Plunger at all times. If you're holding onto a defensive Freeze or Grapple, there is really no need for you to be upfield. Let your teammates attack with hopefully an offensive power-up. And at higher levels, you may even notice your entire team hanging back, indicating they're all holding a defensive power-up. There really is a lot going on that you can pick up on in this game. Take shots on net. Put shots on net without using your power-up as much as possible. Getting the other team to waste their power-up trying to save a simple goal is a huge benefit for your team. I cannot stress this enough. You should be trying to get them to burn power-ups whenever possible. Forcing a defender to use their punch to block a standard shot from your team could ultimately win the game for you. The other team no longer has a top-tier power-up to defend or score with, and your team instantly has an advantage. Track power-ups. Keep track of your team and the enemy's power-ups, just like you would keep track of other players' boost in regular Rocket League. This certainly takes a deeper understanding of Rocket League in general, but it's really where Rumble starts to show its depth. For example, if the first power-up I get is Spikes, I want to look for my best opportunity to actually attack with them. If I'm the first one to deploy my Spikes, the other team could easily be holding a Freeze, Boot, Grapple, Punch, Plunger, Tornado, or even a Teleport to defend it. But if my team can hold out on defense, and I time my Spikes correctly, I could be charging upfield while the defenders have one or even no power-ups to defend with. Power-ups respawn after 10 seconds, and that is further delayed by deployment of items like Hot Feet or Power Fist. To wrap things up, I want to share a few important quirks about some of the power-ups. Defending spikes. When the ball first attaches to the car, it's basically immune to being knocked off by a touch or a freeze. I still make this mistake myself from time to time, but when the other team spikes the ball, you have to hold yourself back and just wait a second before using the freeze to pull the ball off. If you use the freeze too quickly, nothing happens and you just wasted a top tier power up while spikes continue to charge at your net. To mention it again, you never want to use Hot Feet on a player that has spikes either. While it is tempting, Hot Feet is only an asset to someone who has spiked the ball onto their car. Ball momentum. Some power-ups have a much different effect depending on which way the ball is moving. For an offensive punch, make sure the ball is moving away from you. For an offensive plunger, make sure the momentum is going with your car. While the grapple is primarily a defensive item, it can be completely useless if the ball is going too fast or too close to your own net. It seems like there's a speed at which the grapple cannot defend against, and the ball just keeps moving, pushing you into your own net, and you get scored on. There's a similar issue with the freeze, most commonly seen defending against the plunger. The ball will freeze but continue momentum for a bit. Try to use these power-ups to defend as far away from your own net as possible. Use your camera. For items like the boot and teleport, you will need to move your camera around to target exactly which player to select. Distance. Some of the items only work from a certain distance away. Try to remember this, especially on defense, so that you can stay close enough to the ball or your goal to actually make that save. If the ball is going fast enough, you may be able to use your power-up, but the ball will be out of range too quickly and your power-up just gets wasted. This is a huge problem with the punch and the plunger. And finally, be creative. These power-ups do have many uses, and I'm sure some that I am still yet to see. For example, the magnet is almost as good as spikes. Focus on matching the ball speed when deploying the magnet. The tornado can carry the ball very well and even works from the ceiling. And if you grapple the ball without jumping, you will be left flying through the air while retaining your flip. It is also a great way to guarantee a dunk or a snipe on a frozen ball out of the air. Thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate your thoughts on the video, and I hope to see you out there in the Rumble queue.